It's not that easy being green, having to spend each day the color of the leaves, when I think it could be nicer being red or yellow or gold or something much more colorful like that. It's not that easy being green. It seems you blend in with so many other ordinary things, and people tend to pass you over because you're not standing out like flashy sparkles in the water or stars in the sky. But green's the color of spring, and green can be cool and friendly like, and green can be big like an ocean, or important like a mountain, or tall like a tree.
It's time for Fully Threaded Radio.
It is Fully Threaded Radio, voice of the FCH Sourcing Network. If you buy, sell, manufacture, distribute, or just kind of contemplate fasteners on a regular basis, well, this is the podcast for you, and we're glad you joined us. Hey, everybody, Eric Udis here. He's Brian Musker. We're going to talk about fasteners for the next, little bit over an hour or so. How you doing, Bri?
I'm doing good, actually. I thought you were going to say mainly about fasteners, actually.
Well, you know, we try and change things up occasionally around here, as you know.
Right.
And it's not always easy to come up with new angles on this subject, but boy, we've got some big news on this episode of Fully Threaded Radio. It's episode 82, everybody. We're publishing on May 15th, 2014, and we've got a pretty full lineup for you once again. How you been doing since last episode, Bri?
Oh, I've been really getting rid of my backlog of things. You know, our little trip to Cleveland was a great trip and was very good for us, but you know, things keep piling up while you're away. So I'm getting through my to-do list and getting all the stuff done, and it's cranking through stuff. Okay, that's just what we do.
That is what we do, and it was a great trip to Cleveland. We always have a productive time when we're out there, and right. We again hit the North Coast Fastener Association Distributor Social. This is an event that just keeps getting more and more exciting as time goes on. I think this was the 5th annual, Bri. And then we did some distributor visits, and we're going to be talking about that a lot during today's episode. Don't miss the final segment on today's show, and we'll talk some more about our specific experiences. But we've got, among other things, Don Solution Man Shan and Laura Vath from Solution Industries joining us on today's feature segment. They'll be joined by Marty Nolan, who is the traveling fastener frontman of RL English. And we'll roll up this year's NCFA Distributor Social during that conversation.
Right.
We've also got a conversation with Marc Strandquist. He's the Executive Vice President of Wurth USA. And they've got some pretty big news. They made an acquisition announcement, and this, of course, following on Marc Strandquist's visit with us a couple of months back when he explained their ambitious growth strategy. Wurth has put this into action. He rejoins us today, and you're not going to want to miss this. Plus, as if that wasn't enough, ladies and gentlemen, BB&T Capital Markets analyst Holden Lewis joins Mike McNulty on the Fastener News Report, and we had a spike in the Fastener Distributor Index. Brian and I were not surprised by this because traffic on the network was just through the roof, but I guess this just validates it, Brian.
Right. Yeah. In fact, we were sort of caught wondering, was it a change in Google. You begin to start, when you see that, you start doubting everything. All notions that you had go off the table, and you think, well, I don't know what it is. Okay.
Right. Seasonally adjusted or not, it was dramatic, and Mike and Holden will tell us all about it.
Right, and I'll be looking forward to see what Holden actually says about that, actually.
We're so glad you're joining us again, ladies and gentlemen. Your support means everything to us, as does the support of our sponsors.
Yes, that's right. And the title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio are Stellfast and Trinity Hardware Headquarters. Stellfast, for service you deserve and people you trust. And Trinity Hardware Headquarters, for parts done right. Also sponsoring us, Buckeye Fasteners, Volt Industrial Plastics, Fastenal, and Solution Industries, home of Solution Man.
He lives where you live.
Right, and we met quite a number of our sponsors actually over at the do in Cleveland.
Oh, I'm telling you, the Solution Industries team, they were there in droves. They were looking sharp. They were looking day glow, frankly.
Right, that went with my day glow T-shirt that I got given. Okay, the bright green one.
Yep. Well, we'll talk more about that. Hey, everybody, thanks again for joining us. You can get with us anytime. Give us your feedback, your input at the email address ftr@fullythreaded.com. We're also out there on Twitter at the handle fullythreaded. We'll be right back to get this Fastener Fandango going right after these contractually obligated messages.
Okay.
When top quality and outstanding service are at the top of your list in fastener suppliers, turn to Stellfast. Since 1976, Stellfast has grown to become an industry-leading importer and manufacturer of the highest quality industrial fasteners, specialty items, and automotive parts. Our array of facilities across North America and in Asia, along with full quality control labs and ISO 9001-2008 certifications, ensure the highest quality parts, and at Stellfast, they're delivered with undisputed service excellence. We're family-run and dedicated to your success. Our customers have come to depend on the expertise of our staff and the quality of our products. We also offer a wide range of secondary services to meet some of the toughest requirements you might have. Contact Stellfast today through our website at www.stellfast.com and put us to work for you. Stellfast. Service you deserve, people you trust.
Mick Jagger once said, "You can't always get what you want." Well, that's just not the case with Trinity Hardware Headquarters. You can get what you want, and you can get it fast. With over 30,000 varieties of fasteners and new lines of package clamps, carriage bolts, and plow bolts, you've entered fastener paradise. Trinity Hardware Headquarters also provides a long list of services to complete your fastener experience. New services such as custom packaging, kitting and polybagging, mill shipments, hold and release and pallet or quarter keg shipments make Trinity Hardware Headquarters your one-stop shopping destination. They also offer secondary services such as patching, machining, drilling, coatings and platings, and parts to print or industry standards. You know, Mick also complained about not getting any satisfaction. He just hasn't yet come to Trinity Hardware Headquarters. And don't forget, you can order 24/7 online from TrinityHardwareHQ.com or call 888-232-1010 anytime. Trinity Hardware Headquarters for parts done right.
Buckeye Fasteners and the Ohio Nut and Bolt Company have been servicing the fastener community since 1905. An employee-owned company for 33 years, we take great pride in the quality of products we sell, offering outstanding customer service from our very knowledgeable sales team members. Our standard product lines include braided weld screws, resistance weld fasteners, leg levelers, tube inserts, clevis pins, and various other fasteners. We have complete custom manufacturing capabilities in low carbon, medium carbon, and stainless steel materials, and our quality systems are registered to ISO standards. We also have an entire team of sourcing specialists able to locate those hard-to-find items with typically smaller minimums and shorter lead times than that of our competition. We offer same-day shipments from one of our warehouses, strategically located throughout the United States and Canada, enabling us to fulfill all your fastener needs in a very timely manner. To find out more about Buckeye Fasteners, please call us at 800-437-1689 or visit us on the web at buckeyefasteners.com. Buckeye Fasteners, product support from development to implementation.
I don't have time to look for the best price for a socket head cap screw zinc plated with a patch.
Solution Man can. Let me handle all of your secondary processes, and I'll even ship the finished product. One price, one purchase order, one invoice, and one shipment equals one solution. Visit the Solution Industries website for details at solutionind.com.
Solution Man, you're my primary source for secondary processes.
Good one.
How you doing? This is Al Felice from Rapid Rivet Fastener, your rivet specialist, and you're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric back with you, shadowboxing the fastener apocalypse episode by episode. Never doing things easy, Bri.
I don't know what to say after that, actually. I mean, I'll shut up.
And speaking of not doing things easy ever, I just locked us in for our booth at the Vegas show coming up in October. And, you know, you guessed it, putting things off, I don't know. Well, we'll have to see. 1855 this year, folks. I don't know who we're next to, but don't be surprised if there's some really weird, like, seaweed candies available nearby us.
Right. Probably at a dead end facing a brick wall or something, or there'll be a column right in the middle of our booth.
Yeah, we'll get by with a little help from our friends. I mean, it always works out that way. But we're looking forward to the Vegas show, as I know many of our listeners are. We'll see you all out there again. We're going to have a big event happening this year at the Bourbon Room. We'll be announcing that during our next episode. We've got a contest that's going to be coming up, and the prize you are not going to want to miss, everybody. Stay tuned. You know what I'm talking about, Brian?
Oh, I don't.
All right. Even Brian's wondering now.
No, I am. You meant to have told me this stuff beforehand.
Well, I'll give you a hint. Fastener Training Institute.
Oh, yes. Okay. Right.
Yes. So that's going to be really cool, and we're going to make that announcement, and this whole thing is going to culminate on the floor of the Bourbon Room at the Vegas show, again, coming up in October.
All right.
Closer at hand, got an email here from Vicki Lester, she of the National Fastener Distributor Association. She's reminding everybody that it's not too late to schedule your ESPS sessions. They've got their big meeting coming up in New Orleans, Bri, in June.
Yeah, I know.
And if you're going to be attending, or if you're still on the fence, this is definitely worthwhile. You should get out there, folks, or at least consider it. If you're an NFDA member, for sure. But if you're considering, I mean, hey, it's probably a good way to go out there and get a bunch of free drinks and stuff, and kind of just tease them.
Right. I mean, there's worse places or worse cities to go to than New Orleans too. A lot worse. It's a fun city.
As long as you can keep your nose clean, you can have a lot of fun and learn a lot from your fellow fastener distributors.
Yeah, actually, the key to doing and enjoying New Orleans is making sure you do not have that second or third or fourth hurricane drink, because I think that's everyone's downfall.
Oh, yeah.
Including mine, terribly.
Yeah, those piano bars, man, they can be deadly.
Yeah, Paddy O'Brien's, I think, was the scene of my demise, I think.
Well, we're not going to broadcast that too widely, although I guess we just did. Hey, for more information on that, everybody, get out to the NFDA website. That's nfda-fastener.org. Their big ESPS meeting is coming up in June. And we've been plugging this one big time, Bri, but the MWFA, the Midwest Fastener Association, is having their tabletop coming up in June as well, along with their golf outing. That's June 23rd and 24th. Get out to mwfa.net for more information on that. Of course, we've been talking about this like crazy, the glow golf. Oh, man. Almost makes you want to give up muskie fishing.
Nearly. Okay. Nearly. Yeah, I mean, Okay. It'd be fun. And we went to a couple of them. The scheduling must have been different, but this time the ladies are manning our booth, and they do a very good job of it.
That's right. If you get out to the FCH booth, you'll see the lovely and talented Lynn Dempsey, along with Sue Rice, who many of you have met and talked with before. They'll do a great job for FCH, I'm sure, and it's going to be a great event.
Yeah.
And speaking of FCH, everybody, we're the people who bring you the FCH sourcing network. That's found at fastenersclearinghouse.com. It's a giant online resource for you if you're looking for a fill-in, a hard-to-find part, or on the other side of that coin, if you're looking to get rid of some inventory, please get out there to fastenersclearinghouse.com. Fasteners with an S for simple. It's
S for the scrubber.
Or for the scrubber, or for Scotch, or we've got for smallmouth bass.
You could do, yeah. Snake.
We could go on. Anyway, we'd be happy to have you out there, folks. It's a network that's been growing and growing, over 1.1 million listings at this point. And if you do list with us, we'll make your phone ring.
Right. And it's a lot of very unusual stuff as well as pretty common, ordinary run-of-the-mill stuff. So
it's a good mix.
Yeah, it is.
Once again, www.fastenersclearinghouse.com.
Right. And if you missed the S out, Google will probably suggest it to you anyway.
Yeah, but don't miss the S. It's uncouth.
Okay.
Now, speaking of uncouth, we have a friend of the network who's been with us for a long, long time. He's also been with the NFDA as well as a whole bunch of other organizations in the fastener world. Everybody knows him. Everybody loves him. He sent me an email. He's Tom Buddenbone.
Yeah, Tom.
Yeah, and he pointed something out which is entirely correct. He says, you guys have not said much recently about additive manufacturing, but this is a big thing. And he was talking about a acquisition that was brought up about the Harvest Company. And these guys have made some big news. Now, for those of you who are into additive manufacturing or 3D printing, you'll be familiar with Harvest Technologies. Well, their big boss over there sent out an email recently, and he was advising everybody that Harvest Technologies has recently reached an agreement to be acquired by Stratasys. And those are some big boys in the world of 3D, and it just goes to show that this is a technology that's still up and coming. We have not forgotten about it, despite our dearth of commentary, but this is something we're going to be revisiting, don't you think, Bri?
Yes. Actually, there's a lot of, yeah, you're right. There's only so many things you can do. There's 24 hours in a day, but the reality is there's a lot of interesting things have turned up just in the last couple of months, actually, relating to additive manufacturing. One of it relates to a new sort of a cheap printer that's been released, or being released. And there's another one relating to an announcement that the National Aeronautics and Space Administration put out about their proposal to actually produce parts for the space station, on the space station, using additive manufacturing.
Yeah, crazy stories coming out. So don't worry, folks. We will be carrying more content about this great subject coming up in future episodes of Fully Threaded Radio. But thank you, Tom, for pointing out that we've kind of left it alone a little bit. I'll tell you one guy, Bri, who's been following this pretty closely is our buddy Andy Cohn. And know, he's keeping an eye on this, as are a lot of other people, but both on the manufacturing side and on the consumer side, 3D is not going away, and it's building ahead of steam. So keep your eyes open for headlines, folks.
Yep.
Hey, one other headline I want to bring up. We were talking about the Southwest Fastener Association spring meeting, which happened a couple of weeks back, Bri. And, they had this fantastic raffle with this AR-15 that they were giving away. Of course, we had our tickets in for that. It would have been sweet to win that thing. This was an AR donated by Battle Rifle Company out of Houston, Texas. And, Mike Rodriguez, of course, is a fastener guy, but he also operates a tactical training school down there. And, of course, we didn't win it, Bri. We tried. Got an email here from the SFA, and the winner of the AR was Billy Boyles of Merit Sales, Inc., you lucky dog.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, actually, I would have liked to have gone down to that because I could have had a chance to practice my Texan accent again. Mike Rodriguez would have given me a few hints as to ways I could say things a little bit better.
As if you don't get enough practice on every episode of Fully Threaded.
This is true. Yeah, right. Of course.
Well, the raffle raised over $5,000 for the Will Rodriguez Scholarship Fund, and it was a good cause. And,
wow.
It's
good. Yeah.
Put up a good prize, and, you never know.
That's right. So that's great.
Well, that's the kind of hard-hitting fastener headlines you can expect at Fully Threaded Radio. Right, Brian?
Oh, of course. Why would you have anything less?
Yes, of course. And speaking of hard-hitting headlines, I've been watching the Traveling Salesman's blog over there at fastenerblog.net lately, and he had a post recently. The headline was, "Been kind of quiet till now." And the heart and soul of that post had to do with the big news coming out of the Wurth group. Of course, we, a couple months back, had Marc Strandquist. He's the executive vice president of Wurth USA, or of the Americas. He can clarify that for us because he's here with us now to explain further. Marc Strandquist, welcome back to Fully Threaded.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, my current roles and responsibilities, I'm responsible for 6 of the Wurth Group distribution companies here in North America and 3 of the hot forming manufacturing companies, 1 in Michigan, 1 in Ohio, and 1 in Norway.
And what's the big news these days?
Well, thank you for asking that question, Eric. We're excited. What we've done is developed an expansion strategy here in the United States and Canada and Mexico for the Wurth Group for the division that I'm responsible for, which is known as what we call the industry division. In the mid-1990s, through the late 1990s, the Wurth Group bought a series of companies here in the United States, but really almost all of them were east of the Mississippi. And we had one with Wurth Adams up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which is just, at the very top of the U.S., basically on the Mississippi River. But other than that, our focus originally was that. And then we've had, 15 years of calm growth in terms of really, focusing here in east of the Mississippi. And now we're starting to do our expansion. So we've identified the Rocky Mountains, which is why we looked at Timberline Fasteners and Russ Duran and his group. And we're really proud that as of May 1st that they're with our group. We're also targeting the West Coast, Southwest United States, and Texas as other areas that we have an interest in growing from an acquisition perspective.
Wow. It took me 4 years to get my Timberline hat out of Russ Duran. It's going to be a Timberline with a Wurth logo as well now.
There will be. Yeah, it's the name is Wurth Timberline Fasteners, and we're very excited. They're one of the largest industrial fastener distribution companies in that area. We really look at them as a growth platform. They're doing a lot of neat things, and we feel is a real perfect fit for us as we expand out west. My marching orders from the corporate headquarters is, we're seeking out profitable companies with strong management teams. And then with my filter, we're looking at trying to expand and enhance our distribution network of warehouses so that we can service customers better and better. And we also want to find a company that can bring other things to the group, so that not only do we bring something to that company, but we're hoping with each acquisition we find that they have something unique that they do that enriches us as a total group in terms of products or services, or something that they offer to the marketplace.
Yeah, well, they've been good and long-term members of FCH, and we've enjoyed working with them over the years. Good company.
Yes, and of course, Russ Duran has been a longtime friend of Fully Threaded, big supporter of ours, several-time president of the Pac West, member of the NFDA, all-around solid guy. So, boy, this was big news for us to hear. And, well, congratulations, because you have folded in a real quality organization into the Wurth Group.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We think the same way. We're really excited about the opportunity to use them as a platform of growth. Our corporate in Germany, we've set out some aggressive goals. It's not a Marc Strandquist goal. It's a Wurth Group goal that, all the companies, the 415 different companies that we have a challenge that starting in 13, basically the end of 13 through 2020, we want to double the size of the company. So in 2013, the Wurth Group globally did about $10 billion euros in sales, and our goal is to hit 20 billion euros by 2020. So that's kind of a motto. The professor is a fascinating story. He's one of the world's greatest entrepreneurs. Starting in 1970, he started a process where he would create a vision of where the company would go over the next decade. And since 1970, he has never failed yet. So every decade, as he puts it out, 1970, 1980, 1990, and 2000, he's never failed. He's always hit the goals and the objectives that he has set out for the group. So that is his goal, and so we're going to do it obviously through organic growth. I'm very excited. Our all the companies that were here in North America, the sales pipeline is strong, and we've got some really nice opportunities. We feel, we bring a very good product and service to the marketplace, and we have a reliable network of companies. We're financially strong, so we feel pretty confident that both through organic growth and then finding outstanding companies like Wurth Timberline, that we're going to be able to achieve that growth here in the U.S. over the next 7 years.
Wow, that's a pretty grand vision, actually. I mean, so clearly the Wurth Group views that the market in U.S. is worth following up and concentrating on.
Absolutely. Again, this goes for whether it's the Asian continent or the European continent or the North American continent. We're all in the same vision in terms of expectations. And so our focus is trying to find good growth platforms and people. Business is people, and we've been working very hard at adding talent to the Wurth Group here in North America and all the variety of companies that we have as we look forward. You can have the best systems, and you can have financial stability, and you can have a lot of different things, but in the end, it's going to be up to the people. It's not myself with the vision going forward as the world's most unattractive cheerleader. It's going to be about our people. The variety of managing directors that we have throughout North America, and the senior staffs for each of these companies are all people I'm really proud of, and our future is really up to them. I look at it this way. An example I use is, our owner designed the airplane and he built the airplane. For every company, as part of this analogy, the managing director and the staff fly the airplane. I'm just kind of the air traffic controller. I make sure that each company is well versed in the Wurth Group philosophies and the culture. That each company has a high level of entrepreneurism. And so I take a lot of pride in just kind of being quietly the guy behind the scenes that makes sure the companies have got the right resources and that they're fully immersed into the Wurth culture and they're flying the airplane the right way. So we've got a great group of people, and I'm excited about the future. We think there's some real opportunity in the marketplace right now for someone that can provide what we provide, and what's going to get us there is our people.
Well, you've certainly achieved the objective from that standpoint. I mean, there's great quality people there, and you've also achieved the objective of expanding your footprint geographically. Let me ask you this, Mark. Is there anything else? Is there another angle to Timberline? I mean, does that take you into a different market in any way that you were looking at?
Well, they bring geography. They bring fastener experience. They do the what we call CPS, the C-part system. They do the VMI systems. But one thing that they bring that's different is, and we're eager to develop it, is they're really good at what I call kind of the retail business, where they've got packaged goods in the construction market. Let's call them deck screws or wood screws, and they go into construction stores and that type of stuff in the Rocky Mountain range, and they do a VMI program where they stock the shelves, and that's something that the Wurth Group typically hasn't been involved with, but they do it very well, and we look at it as a super growth area for Timberline, is the ability to take these fasteners, package it in a branded box, and have the ability to go to these stores and then we stock it and we provide product and hopefully expand it. But that's the special thing that they bring, to the Wurth Group that we don't do today. That again makes these things a good partnership. So while we bring obviously financial strength and the ability to fund them for growth, and we'd have obviously as globally the Wurth Group has the opportunity to be the largest fastener buyer there is in terms of what we do to procure fasteners and resell them. So we think we bring a lot to the party, but Timberline with their expertise and what they do with that brings something to us. So I think that's why we work very hard at these kind of acquisitions, making sure it's a healthy one, and everybody wins, and that there's an opportunity for them to feel like an equal partner to the process.
Well, we'll be keeping our eyes open then, I guess, Mark, to see if that particular expertise spreads throughout Wurth. And, I mean, nobody would argue with you that that's a very interesting area. I mean, there's a lot of companies who are extremely successful focusing on that particular niche. So I have to ask at this point then, should we be on the edge of our seats for a forthcoming announcement? Perhaps there's 1, 2, 3 more coming down the road?
Not soon, but yeah, we do have, and you'll appreciate this analogy, we do have a bobber in the water when 1 or 2 places. So, but we're in no rush. This is a long-term strategy, and if it takes 2 years, it takes 2 years. If it took 2 months, it would take 2 months. So we're really not rushing around like crazy people trying to do something. We're taking our time, making sure there's a strategic fit, making sure that there's a cultural fit, and then we'd be delighted to have someone become part of our team.
Oh, sounds good.
Now, it's great to be in that position, that's for sure. So we have high expectations for all that. And since you introduced the fishing analogy, I was going to ask you anyway. You've been such a busy guy. I know you've definitely had your eyes up north. And, well, here in the Midwest, the season is, I guess it's here already, but not that guys like you and me know about it. You going to get out and wet a line anytime soon?
I'm hoping to take some time off at the end of May and then start to try and get out there and make something happen. But nothing yet, but I have it on the agenda.
Well, I hope you get that, because rumor has it there's still 3 or 4 50-inch muskies left up there in Wisconsin.
I will try and find them.
The water could be so cold that they're still down the bottom trying to keep warm, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, very true.
Well, congratulations to you on this great acquisition, and thank you so much for joining us, Marc Strandquist. You're the Executive Vice President of Wurth in the U.S., and thanks again.
All right, very good. You guys have a great day.
Same to you.
We'll be right back with more Fully Threaded Radio.
2 men, 1 server, a fastener dog, and a stunning lack of more lucrative alternatives. It's Fully Threaded Radio.
Ah, Iowa. Field of dreams, Hawkeyes, corn, the only state that starts with 2 vowels, and the home of Trinity Hardware headquarters. What's so special about Trinity Hardware headquarters? How about the fact that offering 30,000 types of fasteners just wasn't enough variety? So they've added new lines of packaged clamps, rib neck carriage bolts, and plow bolts. And who doesn't need new plow bolts after this winter? Trinity Hardware headquarters also has over 600 cushioned clamps made in the USA by KMC, 18 sizes of ribbed neck carriage bolts, and over 40 sizes of plow bolt kits. And that's just the new stuff. They're still stocking their 400,000 square foot warehouse top to bottom with screws, nuts, bolts, washers, fittings, just about any fastener you could possibly need. And you can order 24/7 online from trinityhardwarehq.com. Or call 888-232-1010 anytime. Trinity Hardware Headquarters, for parts done right.
Hi everyone, it's Brian Musker. If you're listening to Fully Threaded, then you're no doubt aware of the FCH sourcing network found at fastenersclearinghouse.com. You've probably also heard about our legendary scrubber software that makes listing your inventory on FCH a snap. But have you heard about the new FCH SmartLink interface? With SmartLink, users of Business Edge, InSequel, and Distribution One have a new weapon in the war against excess inventory, because each of these platforms now links directly to the FCH scrubber system through an automated interface. The best part is that this new tool is available at no additional charge to FCH members who use Business Edge, InSequel, or Distribution One. With SmartLink, you can keep your inventory listings up to date with the click of a button, so it's a win-win for all FCH users. The new FCH FastLink interface is really big news, and we'll be thrilled to have your company using it. Business Edge, InSQL, and Distribution One users should contact their software provider for details, or just call me, Brian Musker. You can reach me through the FCH website at www.fastenersclearinghouse.com. That's fasteners with an S, and the S is for scrubber.
First, there was fire, and man said, "Fire, good." Then there was the wheel, and man said, "Wheel, good." With the invention of the wheel came the need for fasteners, and man loudly exclaimed, "Buckeye, good." Buckeye Fasteners, providing quality products since the dawn of man. The preceding message was brought to you by Buckeye Fasteners and the Ohio Nut and Bolt Company, proud fastener show sponsors of Old Rusty Bolt Beer, official beer of the Traveling Salesman. Tell them Grog sent you. Ugh.
This is John Butler with K&L Sales, your source for fastening technologies. And you're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric back with you. Always doing things the hard way for some reason. I don't know why, Brian.
I know. Maybe your last breath you realize how you could have made the things easier. Maybe that's when you finally find out. You get this moment of the light suddenly shines.
Well, I guess that'd be soon enough. Of course, at least we don't have to worry about being green, because no one would ever accuse us of being bad.
Political correctness or anything like that. Yeah, no. I gave up any hopes of being regarded that way a long time ago.
And God bless you for it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the Fastener News Report coming up momentarily. Just before we roll into that, I wanted to make an announcement. Of course, folks realize that FCH, if you're an FCH member, we interface with a couple of really top-notch ERP platforms, among them Computer Insights, InSQL software, and Distribution One. We're working real hard to get Profit 21 in on that mix as well. As many of you know, we've been working on that for a while now. But Wall Street Journal put out a report a couple days back and says Epicor, the company that owns Profit 21, is on the block, seeking $3.5 billion. The company was purchased by Apex Partners for a little over $1 billion back in 2011, and they've, of course, smashed a couple other companies into that mix. And we'll have to see what happens with that one, Bri. But definitely interesting thing for all Profit 21 users to be aware of.
Right. It always seems to be whenever we start really dealing with trying to communicate with P21, the organization, whoever it is that owns it at any one moment, they still look at being sold or bought by someone else. It's like it's already like dealing with the federal administration. But this is harder because it's like a federal administration is a moving target.
Yeah, couldn't it just be easy?
Yeah, you'd think.
It's almost like it's a theme today. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd like it that way.
Well, the good news is that the organization is a solid one, and I'm sure that P21 users will have no adverse impact on their usage. So, but it is something to keep your eye on.
Right.
I'd like to thank today's sponsor of the Fastener News Report, and that, of course, is Volt Industrial Plastics. The Fastener News Report is also sponsored today by Fastenal and our other great sponsors, Stelfast, Trinity Hardware Headquarters, Solution Industries, Buckeye Fasteners, and Fastener Technology International Magazine. Once again, everybody, get with us anytime. We always appreciate your input. The email address is ftr@fullythreaded.com.
Right. We look forward to it and appreciate it.
Now, here's a guy who always knows how to make things easy.
Yeah. For whom?
For the fastener world in general. And I think you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, Mike McNulty.
That's right. Here's the Fastener News Report.
Thanks, Eric and Brian. This is Mike McNulty from Fastener Technology International Magazine, bringing you the Fastener News Report, which is sponsored today by Volt Industrial Plastics, makers of the world's finest plastic fasteners. The Cleveland Browns management energized its fan base by drafting Johnny Football last week. I just hope that this draft announcement does not turn out to be Manziel's #1 professional football highlight. Being a Cleveland Browns fan is nowhere as easy as focusing on fasteners, so all this NFL draft drama has not prevented me from preparing for today's Fastener News Report. In our top story, we're going to get the April 2014 results of FDI, also known as the Fastener Distributor Index. Also in today's report, we have newsmaker headlines from the United States International Trade Commission, the All-American Fastener Show, the NFDA, Ernest Machine, Wurth Group, Timberline Fasteners, Elgin Fastener Group, and the North Coast Fastener Association. On the back page report, we're going to talk about the heart of the fastener industry. We will get to all of that and the Fastener Distributor Index results for April right after this.
Whether you need a small or large number of fasteners, there is no reason why you should have to sacrifice quality or service for that matter. Volt Industrial Plastics takes great care with each and every order to ensure you receive a quality fastener in a timely and affordable manner. Our state-of-the-art production equipment allows us to produce any quantity you request quickly and efficiently. And with same-day shipping on nearly 1 million in-stock fasteners, we carry an inventory so you don't have to. Visit us online at voltplastics.com to find out more about our quality American-made products. Volt Industrial Plastics, manufacturer of the finest plastic fasteners in the world.
For a selection of hundreds of thousands of fasteners, check out your local Fastenal store or Fastenal.com. We can stock domestic or internationally sourced product locally and keep your bin stock filled for you at no additional expense. We are a 9001-2008 certified company that's made a huge investment in quality control so you don't have to. And if you can't find it on our shelf, we can make it for you at the quantity you need at one of our many manufacturing facilities. Learn more by contacting your local Fastenal store or visiting Fastenal.com today.
I know my customers' yearly usage, but I don't have the warehouse space to store it.
Solution Man can. Submit a blanket order and I'll not only set up release dates, I'll offer you bulk pricing too. Visit the Solution Industries website for details at solutionind.com.
You're my fastener superhero.
Just doing my job, ma'am.
Back to the Fastener News Report with Mike McNulty.
In April, the FDI exploded to an all-time high of 59.3, a huge increase from March's 50.0 result. Fastener Distributor Index data is collected and analyzed by BB&T Capital Markets and the FCH Sourcing Network, and it seeks to identify demand, pricing, and outlook trends within the American fastener industry. To get the story on these robust FDI results, we talked to Holden Lewis of BB&T Capital Markets. Hi, Holden. Thanks for joining us on the Fastener News Report.
Hey, Mike. As always, glad to be here, and thanks for talking to me.
Glad you could join us. Now, what can you tell us about these, very good FDI results for April?
Yeah, so in April, the number went to 59.3. That is up, as you noted, significantly from the 50 that it reported in March. Now, I would say one thing is that that is obviously a big move. Sometimes these indices can have these. Recall that not too long ago, in fact, in December, the PMI was around 57, and then in January it reversed and went back to 51. And months earlier had done exactly the opposite. So, you can see with any of these sort of opinion indices, you can see some perhaps inflated moves in the indices from month to month. And I say that primarily as a bit of a caution that 59.3, it certainly looks good. That feels a little bit strong to me. However, I think taking, again, the big picture, looking at it from a bit of perspective, the PMI has been improving the last few months. The metalworking index, the MBI, has been improving the last few months. The FDI had been lagging, really sort of sticking in those very low 50s, even as some other indices had been doing better. And we got a little, some comments and saw some data suggesting maybe fasteners were sort of coming around slower than some other areas. I think that by seeing a nice increase in April over March, I think what that does is it tends to confirm some of the data that is showing some improvement. And even if 59.3 ultimately gets sort of tempered a little bit as we get into May and June, I think what this is going to wind up being is it's going to wind up being a sort of a move to a new, somewhat more positive level. Because when you take the preponderance of data that we look at, including the FDI, I really think that's what you have to conclude. You have to conclude that business conditions are getting a little bit better beneath the surface, and some of this data should and I think will begin to reflect that. And I think the FDI reading in April is really just that. It probably comes down a little bit in May, but I think that what we're going to wind up seeing is this figure settling at a somewhat more favorable level as the signs continue to build that demand's getting a little bit better. The other thing to remember is January was an awful weather period. February was an awful weather period. March and April had holiday timing in it. The fact is we have seen, we really haven't seen a clean month on which to look at the data. And that's affected the FDI. It's affected specific data such as Fastenal's own daily sales rates. They had a very strong March, a very weak April. Again, I think holiday timing played into that. I'm really looking forward to May because that's the first time that this data will be unencumbered by weather or holiday timing. And I think that, you're going to get a May number that I think is the most readable of the ones we've had thus far this year. And I don't think it'll be at 59, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's better than the very low 50s readings that we've been seeing. And I think that's exactly what we'd like it to see, what we'd like to see it do.
So in other words, cleared out all the garbage of the first quarter, and now we've maybe gone up a little bit higher than we should be, but it'll end up better than it has been.
That's just my speculation until we actually see those May data. But yeah, we just look at too much of the data that we see. We've just come out of an earnings season where we hear a lot of different companies reporting. Obviously, we're looking at all of this data, and all of it is just pointing to, an improving type of environment. And the FDI had been lagging. I think that this move is a sign that you're starting to see the fastener side of things follow with some of these other industrial type of products. And I think that that's going to carry forward into sort of May, June, in some decent readings.
Yeah, I was looking at, the details you reported. There was good gains all across the board: employment, deliveries, inventories, et cetera. And the long-term outlook was real positive once again, or maybe the most positive it's been in a while.
Yeah, well, I look at the long-term outlook. I mean, first, you're right. There was difficulty. It was difficult to find much negative up and down the report. The 6-month outlook for April, the way I would characterize it is it's just been really steady. And I think those who listen have noted that even when we've had some of these blips, like March when the number hit 50, or the fact that we've been sort of steadily declining from 54 down to 50 between November and March, one of the things that we kept saying was, there's a lot of things buffeting the data, but one thing that's been really steady is that the 6-month outlook, you have had a majority of respondents who continue to think that it's going to be better 6 months from now than it is today. Very few people who think that it's going to be lower. And you saw that again in the April reading. And I think it's a measure of confidence more than anything else. That the improvement that I think we're starting to see in some of this data, is going to continue. There's just not a lot of fear out there. So yeah, I'd say that it's, I don't know that it was hugely improved, relative to where it's been in recent months, but recent months have been reasonably steadying in terms of tenor and confidence, and I think that April was a continuation of that. So there's nothing, certainly nothing adverse in the 6-month outlook reading for April either.
Right. Yeah, that is. I think it was down to only 4% of the people thought things would get worse. So that's almost as low as you can get.
It's not a lot. And you're hearing that as well with companies as they report earnings. You don't want to call it complacency, but I mean, at this point, unlike was the case maybe 6-9 months ago, you're not hearing a lot of companies fretting over the downside risk. They may be dreaming over the upside potential, but they're not really fretting over the downside risk at this point. And that's, boy, I mean, I think that you can go back the last 18 months and you've just seen this long, progress from, a great deal of pessimism to sort of people just kind of shrugging their shoulders and thinking more of the same to finally starting to see people getting somewhat optimistic about the outlook. And that's what I think that's exactly what the outlook statement told us in April and has been telling us for the past 5-6 months.
Good. Now, this time around, there was no supplemental question, but I think it might be a good time to revisit the subject of pricing. Are people able to start putting some price increases through now that things are improving?
Pricing is very interesting. I think we still, in terms of simple supply demand, I think we still need to see a longer stretch of strength than what we've seen. Heck, let's just see some certainty that it's going to endure before you can start saying, you know what, demand's getting a lot better. We need to start putting some pricing through. So if it was just a function of sort of the demand environment, I would say we need to see some better traction. We need to see that this thing has legs. That said, we are seeing some increasingly optimistic signs, even stepping outside of the fastener industry where there may be some sort of industry-specific factors playing a role. One thing I thought was interesting about this most recent earnings season that we got out of the distributors was we did begin to see a little bit of pricing. Not much, but a little bit. And, MSC Industrial, for instance, which all of last year did not take any mid-cycle price increases, they announced a small mid-cycle price increase on certain products in the most recent earnings report. Motion Industries, they actually reported they got a little bit of pricing during the most recent quarter. Wesco reported a little bit of pricing during the quarter. These are companies that prior to this quarter had been reporting basically no pricing in the preceding 2 or 3 quarters, and that had been sort of the predominant environment. So, I don't think that half a percentage point of pricing is going to do much for anybody's gross margins. However, when you're getting half a percentage point where you've been previously getting 0, it at least is a sign. And I think it's a sign about some confidence in the end markets. And, we'll see the degree to which you can build on that. So it may be very early. The gains may be very tenuous, but, we're seeing companies and we're seeing the pricing component of our own FDI, I think, flashing some signals that pricing is beginning tenuously to come back into the market. Now, there are still plenty of companies who are not pricing or increasing pricing to any meaningful degree. That's fine. Some companies lead, some companies lag, and we'll see how that plays out. But those tenuous signs are very much there. So I would say that the general environment for pricing has gotten somewhat, seems to be getting somewhat firmer here.
And this kind of is a good segue into another subject I wanted to bring up, or the final subject I wanted to bring up with you. That we're seeing reports of rising costs of nickel. In fact, I think it's reached I saw a report that's reached a 2-year high just this month on nickel, and that goes into some fasteners like stainless steel fasteners and that. What are you seeing like raw material impact and on outside factors?
Yeah, and there's a number of them. So even setting aside the supply and demand question within fasteners, since we've already covered that the demand side is, if it's getting better, that's a relatively recent event. But setting aside the supply demand element of it, there do seem to be a trio of events within the fastener industry that could have some implications on pricing going forward. One, of course, is what's happening at the master distribution level, where there's some major players that are, trying to take price in the market. Of course, there's only a limited number of those type of players, so if one major moves on price, then it could potentially have some ripple-through effect. But then, of course, you're also seeing the issue in Taiwan with the plating capacity, which also seems to have potentially 3 to 6 month legs and is probably pushing up a lot of sort of the middle and high grades of carbon steel fasteners. And then, you're also now beginning to hear exactly what you're talking about, which is nickel is going up. Russia, a big supplier of nickel. Obviously, they've been on the world stage of late. And then there's another country, I think, that is a big supplier of nickel that has been restricting some of their exports. And the result is, as you say, nickel's gone up, and that has an impact on stainless. And so when I think about, one item maybe can be shrugged off. Maybe you can shrug off two items, but at the end of the day, when you're talking about pricing pressure that should be touching most elements in one way, shape, or form of the fastener industry, you have to think that over the next 3 to 6 months, there should be some opportunity to perhaps increase price based on what is coming through in the form of cost of goods. And we'll see how that plays out. Some major players I don't think have moved on that, but I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 3 to 6 months you do begin to see some pricing bleeding through. Maybe the thing we need to see is simply the timing of when inventory works in, right? When you're shipping these fasteners overseas, it takes time for the higher cost fasteners to sort of come to the shores, get through the P&Ls of companies. And that may be one thing that kind of holds pricing back. But nonetheless, it does seem like there's going to be a wave of higher cost products kind of coming through before too long that may be a harbinger of at least some short-term pricing for the fastener space. You'd obviously love to see it more a function of pure supply demand, but we're not there yet. Maybe we see, some of these artificial causes for price increases, and by the time you work through those, maybe the demand's better and you get yourself a little cycle. We'll see how it plays out, but there definitely are a bunch of factors buffeting the fastener supply chain right now.
Right. Yeah. The opportunities for raising prices may become necessities for raising prices if there's too many outside factors that are bearing down on everybody.
That's right, and the thing you talk about necessity, but what I've always observed within the fastener industry is that fastener companies will raise prices, and they'll usually talk about the rising cost of materials. But at the end of the day, a little sugar always seems to stick to the fingers, and distributors like nothing more than a little pricing to be moving through. Yeah. It may become necessity, but somehow I suspect that necessity may nonetheless move through to some profit gains.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be good news, and that's a good way to put it. So, anyways, well, it's good to talk about something different than the same result as the last month.
That's true. That's true.
Had a long string of about pretty much the same as the previous month. So.
That's right, and hopefully we're starting to get. Maybe we'll start a new dialogue, or pretty much the same as the last month, but at higher numbers. Yeah.
All right. Good. Well, thanks for joining us, and it's always good to talk to you, and we look forward to talking to you next month when we review the May numbers.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Holden. That was Holden Lewis of BB&T Capital Markets. Holden has a regular column on the FDI that appears in the print and digital editions of Fastener Technology International magazine. Next up, today's top Fastener Newsmaker headlines. The National Fastener Distributors Association will host the NFDA annual meeting and executive sales planning sessions June 18th through the 20th, 2014 at the Embassy Suites Convention Center in New Orleans, Louisiana. A line of structural fasteners has been added to Ernest Machine's family of threaded fasteners and custom specials. The 65-year-old industrial distributor based in Cleveland, Ohio, and with a sales and new business development division in the UK, stocks and supplies A325 heavy hex structural bolts, heavy hex structural nuts, and tension control structural bolt sets. The German-based Wurth Group has acquired Timberline Fasteners, the largest fastener distributor in the Rocky Mountain region of the United States. Wurth Timberline, based in Colorado, is now a part of Wurth Industry Division, operating as a sister company of Wurth Industry of North America. Elgin Fastener Group, based in Batesville, Indiana, reports that Jeff Hepner, EFG's Director of Distributor Sales, has announced his retirement effective June 30th, 2014. Hepner is known across the fastener distributor landscape from his work at EFG, Lake Erie Screw, and Telefast Industries, as well as his activities in the National Fastener Distributors Association. And our top newsmaker headline is that the North Coast Fastener Association held its 6th annual Distributor Social on Thursday, May 8th, and it was the biggest one ever. Close to 300 people attended, including several visitors from the Midwest Fastener Association, the Southeast Fastener Association, as well as attendees from Pennsylvania, Southern Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Kentucky, and all parts in between. At this year's event, the NCFA also awarded Seaway Bolt with a scholarship to the Fastener Training Institute's week-long training program to be held in Cleveland, Ohio this July. The day started with a tour of Kerr Lakeside hosted by Charlie Kerr and the staff of Kerr Lakeside in Euclid, Ohio. Stay tuned after the Fastener News Report for a detailed report on the North Coast Fastener Association Social, which will feature NCFA President Marty Nolan and Don Solution Man Shan. Finally, let's turn to the back page for a report on the heart of the fastener industry. For years, I have thought and said that the heart of the American fastener industry was a geographical region located around the Great Lakes, places like Illinois, Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, and Ontario. Well, after attending the previously mentioned North Coast Fastener Association's Distributor Social and Plant Tour, I can say that I was wrong. The heart of the fastener industry resides in the volunteers and administrators of associations like the NCFA and the MWFA, as well as in fastener distributors, sales reps, owners, and factory workers. The heart of the fastener industry beats most strongest in the operations people that I saw at Kerr Lakeside, the ones that toil away day after day in less than comfortable conditions without drawing attention to themselves while they crank out bin after bin of fasteners and precision parts that make their way into products and structures that millions of people take for granted every day. This has been Mike McNulty of Fastener Technology International bringing you the Fastener News Report. Remember to send your news, pictures, comments, corrections, or complaints to me at mcnulty@fastenertech.com.
Up next, it's Don Solution Man Shan, along with Laura Vath and Marty Nolan, with a recap of the NCFA Distributor Social. On Fully Threaded. Thanks for listening, everyone. When top quality and outstanding service are at the top of your list in fastener suppliers, turn to Stelfast. Since 1976, Stelfast has grown to become an industry-leading importer and manufacturer of the highest quality industrial fasteners, specialty items, and automotive parts. Our array of facilities across North America and in Asia, along with full quality control labs and ISO 9001-2008 certifications, ensure the highest quality parts, and at Stelfast, they're delivered with undisputed service excellence. We're family-run and dedicated to your success. Our customers have come to depend on the expertise of our staff and the quality of our products. We also offer a wide range of secondary services to meet some of the toughest requirements you might have. Contact Stelfast today through our website at www.stelfast.com and put us to work for you. Stelfast. Service you deserve, people you trust.
You can't beat one-on-one personal meetings to maximize business opportunities, and that's exactly what NFDA Executive Sales Planning Sessions are all about. Hi everyone, this is Kevin Rydell of Hodel Natco and the NFDA, inviting you to join us in New Orleans June 17th through the 19th for our annual ESPS meeting, where one-on-one interaction with suppliers and potential customers will be our focus. If you're a longtime member, or if you've been thinking of joining the NFDA, I encourage you to attend this exciting meeting. In addition to high bandwidth interaction and other fantastic fastener industry business content, this meeting will feature a full complement of social opportunities, taking advantage of the best of the Big Easy, the historic city of New Orleans. Take a look at the NFDA website at www.nfda-fastener.org for details, and plan to attend the annual NFDA ESPS meeting June 17th through 19th. I hope to see you there.
Whether you need a small or large number of fasteners, there is no reason why you should have to sacrifice quality or service for that matter. Volt Industrial Plastics takes great care with each and every order to ensure you receive a quality fastener in a timely and affordable manner. Our state-of-the-art production equipment allows us to produce any quantity you request quickly and efficiently. And with same-day shipping on nearly 1 million in-stock fasteners, we carry an inventory so you don't have to. Visit us online at voltplastics.com to find out more about our quality American-made products. Volt Industrial Plastics, manufacturer of the finest plastic fasteners in the world.
You know your screws and your brews. That's why now there's a beer brew just for the fastener industry. That's right. You drove all day to make that call. The beer you'll pour, it must be tall. Yeah. Old rusty bowl. Yeah. You sold those screws and bolts and nuts, and now it's time to fill your guts. That's clear. Old rusty boat. Yeah. Forget about cold-filtered. Old Rusty's cold-headed for fastener people just like you. It's the beer that could have made Rockford, Illinois famous until we had to start importing some of the pure 100% natural ingredients that go into every batch. It's got that full-threaded flavor, but with a third less oxides, so you can keep enjoying Old Rusty long after the warehouse or show floors close down for the day. That's also why Old Rusty's available in quarter kegs and now in convenient pallets too. Keep it flowing, house. Old Rusty Bowl.
Hi, this is Kimberly Kendall with Aztec Lock Nut Company, and you're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
So, Bri, can you imagine? 59.3. Was that what you were expecting or what?
No. I was ready for it to be around 50 again, actually.
Well, I thought it might take a little bit of a hop, but 59.3, the FDI, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard it, and wow. Well, that's what you get with Fully Threaded Radio, a surprise a minute. And I could tell you this, at the NCFA Distributor Social last week, that was a topic, and a lot of people were talking about it. Fortunately, we have some people on the line with us now who can wrap that all up for us. Among them, Marty Nolan, president of the NCFA, and Don Solution Man Shan from Solution Industries. Also, Laura Vath, his right-hand woman, so to speak. Hey, thanks for joining us, everybody.
Sure. Hi, how are you?
How's it going?
Well, it's going like it was after I've got like a week of catching up to do, but that's good.
59.3. I mean, that's how it's going.
Yeah, I know. That's right.
Congratulations, Marty. Again, you guys did a great job. I think you had a record attendance. I would not be shocked if 270 plus attended this year's event.
Yeah, we had about that many sign up. I know you lose some people that aren't able to make it in the last minute. I know a few of those, and I'm guessing there might be some people who show up at the door. So what the exact number is, I couldn't really tell you, but that was right around the number we had for people that signed up. So it was, again, a really good event. You introduced Laura from Solution Industries, but Laura is also part of our NCFA board. So give her even more credit for things she's involved in. Well, thank you.
Welcome to the podcast, Laura. I know these other two gentlemen have been with us a couple of times before, but this is your first time. Don't worry, we won't bite.
Oh, I'm not worried at all. I can handle all of you men.
Oh, please.
It's a family. It's a family fastener show, everybody.
Right. Yeah.
I want to be careful with Brian.
Oh, go on. Yeah. No, I'm on my good behavior at the moment.
Now, not to start everything out on a down note or anything, but I just got to throw this out to you NCFA people. I mean, maybe we'll get the sour part of it out of the way. What was with the name tags?
Those were specifically designed to showcase the art skills of each individual attendee. And we left it a wide open canvas, and we wanted to see how resourceful people were. So when they didn't stick properly, we wanted to see who were the go-getters who would push extra hard on it to make it stick. It was a test, Eric, really. It wasn't a mistake.
Well, I failed the test about 10 times.
Exactly.
I started feeling like there must be something wrong with me.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the humidity or what, but I think a few people had holes in their shoes because it kept falling off everybody's shirts. But other than that, you guys, kudos.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Marty, that tabletop show is not really a tabletop show. It's not really a trade show. So how would you explain or differ that event from normal?
That's a great observation because I've actually had discussions with members of the NCFA, even wondering whether or not we should try and add a tabletop to the Distributor Social. And the response was that they like it the way it is. It's a social networking event. And, it is very different from a tabletop or a show with booths. But let's face it, there's a couple different ways that it's a couple different things that go into selling. Sometimes it's simply the price of an item. Sometimes it's the quality or uniqueness of it. But without doubt, person-to-person activity, people buy from people, they say. I think that's the portion of that equation that this event speaks to really well. It's people to people all night long. There's plenty of space to go pull someone aside if you need to have a little bit of a private conversation. But it's a networking event, and I would guess there's a lot of follow-up meetings that happen, when you see people there. So it's taking one aspect of the selling function and isolating it in a really fun event with beer and food and wine.
And scotch.
A lot of activity.
And other drinks.
I also think that it brings a personal side to the fastener industry. I think the tabletops tend to, you're always on trying to promote your items, the fasteners, anything that your company has to offer. And I think by having it be just a social, it brings out the humanness in people, and they tend to let their guard down, and I think that makes for better communication for all. So I like having it as a social.
Yeah, great point, Laura. Again, we're talking about the NCFA Distributor Social that took place on May 8th. That was in Independence, Ohio. It was very well attended this year. It seems to keep getting bigger every year. It's a very low-pressure environment, as you said, and seems to work for you guys. So it's kind of unique in the industry.
Yeah.
I would throw out to Brian and Eric and also to Don, you guys make a lot of decisions on where to exhibit and which activities to get involved in, whether it is a trade show or a golf outing, or you have so much time to spend out marketing your products. This has definitely been a popular one, but I could see where somebody might be disappointed that they weren't able to sit down and discuss, their brochure and their products in more depth. But I think people like the event. The attendance has gone up every year, so it's clearly a good event. People like it, but how do you guys decide what makes a good event for you as exhibitors?
I think part of the reason we wanted to communicate today was where our advertising dollars and where our communication skills have directly affected our business at Solution and what we do moving forward. On a quick note, that the Distributor Social was basically derived, I think, a little bit from the second floor of those of us who were in Columbus during the heyday of the Columbus days. That was just a place to be where a lot of business deals went down, as opposed to a tabletop type event. And even at the social, there are tables set in the back that I know I've been to a few of them that people have actually pulled us off to the side to, talk privately, if you will. In any event, you would like to get as much information out as you can, but even in a tabletop or a trade show, you're really giving somebody a snapshot of who you are, and you're trying to set up something that's enticing enough for that customer to come back and say, come in, we want to learn more about your company, or can I stop by to educate myself better on what kind of value you bring to our business. So that's basically what you try to do all the time. Marty, and my response to you on that marketing scheme, we don't have anybody on our payroll that really has a marketing degree per se. In a roundabout way, I think that helps us because we're able to think a little bit outside of the box, and we're not scared to try different things and to throw some of our branding and our marketing out there, especially as a small company moving forward. And that's where Laura has a team for us in a marketing aspect that is her creativity and what we do with Solution Man and the fun we can have with just the creativity of it is we have more fun on these meetings than you would care to wonder. I mean, I think she has some things to say about some of the things we do on the marketing end.
Well, I think you're right about that, Don, is a lot of times people who have gone to school with the marketing degree, they have certain criteria they have to meet to have effective marketing in their company. And I think what the bottom line is we're just real people trying to do the best that we can and be the most effective to our customers. And 10 years ago, when we started this whole thing, our most effective way of marketing was via fax. Who would have thought that at that point, that if you didn't call someone on the phone or send them a card in the mail, you had to mass fax. And I think Marty is probably the king of our max faxers. Wouldn't you say, Marty?
King of max faxers.
I thought that was a type of makeup. Oh, wrong name. Sorry, yeah. Well, I'm glad faxing still isn't necessary because Eric and I, by conscious decision, took the ability to fax out of our system because we decided that somehow you have to drag these people screaming into the modern age, and faxing is not part of it.
That's absolutely right. I mean, we irritated more than one distributor when we said we weren't going to include fax in the FCH forms and everything, but hey, that's what you get. And I'm not saying anything in particular because I know it's working for you guys, but when I saw your whole crew out there at the social, Laura, they were looking sharp. There were a lot of you, and my God, shall I say the lubricity of the T-shirts that they were wearing? I don't know. I should have brought my sunglasses. Let's leave it at that.
Well, you did notice that Solution Woman made her debut, and all of the fine ladies at Solution Industries got to don the Solution Woman of the group. It took a long time to have her on any kind of marketing material, but she finally did make it, and with that, so has several of our magnets that you see in many of the offices in the distributors. A lot of times, for instance, our first magnet, it was based out of a line drawing of Solution Man, just promoting specials, hard to find products. We evolved once we started to exhibit in Vegas. We had to have a booth, so we replicated the booth on a magnet as well, and it seems like the evolution of magnets has become part of our branding that promotes Solution Man and what he does.
Wow, you must have done better than us then, because we went into magnets in a big way, but unfortunately forgot to specify that they could actually stick on a fridge.
Yeah, big problem. If you're going to get magnets to promote your company, folks, make sure they're actually magnetic.
You're right, they stick.
Well, let me ask you this, Don Shan. Solution Industries has come a real long way, and you have participated in the social every year. You go to Vegas every year. You do all the things that you would think somebody needs to do. And therefore, you might be shooting at a moving target because your business is expanding probably a lot faster than the industry itself. So when you see an FDI number like we did for April at 59.3, does it surprise you, or where does that sit relative to what Solution Industries is doing?
First off, 59.3 is probably the biggest jump you've had all year, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, by far. I think as a whole, it's hard for me to put an actual number. Our numbers are up over 25 points from the first of the year. And I attribute that maybe a little bit more to gathering some larger audiences and some larger customers and them understanding some of the value-added things that we do, and not so much if I could, I don't know if that's economy-driven, put it that way. Is that it's hard for me to really have a true sense of it just because we're growing fast by adding customers and not so much adding a specific product line. So it's a hard number to really hang your hat on. We've done a lot of different things that advertised in the Link magazine, and we're on the cover, and we've done some very creative Eric Dudas commercials. So we do some things a little bit differently than the normal customer or the normal vendor, but what we're trying to do is get some attention to a point where they can actually wonder about what we do and make the phone call, or at least gain the audience. And in most cases, when a customer calls us for a product, we are telling our inside people all the time to ask them, find out where did they get it, especially if it's a customer that we haven't heard from. Where did they get our name? Where are we having success in spending these advertising dollars? And that's some of the hardest things to do in our industry, to figure out what the real value is in most of them areas.
Oh yeah. That's marketing 101. How do you determine that ROI? That's the eternal question. Hey, Marty Nolan, I introduced you as the president of the NCFA, but you, of course, are also the proprietor of RL English, which is an esteemed manufacturer's rep agency operating out of Strongsville, Ohio. I'm guessing that we caught you, as usual, traveling on the road. And what do you think about this in terms of the 59.3? Does that ring true to what you've been seeing out there in the field?
It kind of does, yeah. I think last year was a very good year. I think the beginning of the year may have started off a little bit slow, and then you throw into the equation the weather was really tough in a lot of the industrial areas for sure. I know in the eastern half of the United States there's, lots of snow, real bad weather. The fact that it would spike up doesn't really surprise me. One of the things I do read is the Kiplinger letter, and since the beginning of the year that has consistently said that the year will start off, first quarter will be okay, a little slow, but we should see growth from quarters 2, 3, and 4. So got that to look forward to. Hopefully they're correct. But I think that spike kind of made me feel like maybe that report has some validity and people are rebounding from the bad weather. And again, just a number of things. But I think the spike is pretty significant, but not shocking.
We actually had noticed a significant spike in activity on our site, but you can't tell for us because Google just has to fiddle around with one of its algorithms and things change, and you have no idea, is it because of anything you've done? Is it because the industry's more active or what?
Yeah, talk about moving targets.
Yeah, I know. I put it down to change in the SEO.
So let me ask you this, Laura. What do you do to try to calculate return on investment with all your various marketing endeavors? You guys are always trying so many different things. It's kind of a hard thing to get your arms around, isn't it?
Well, it definitely is. But the bottom line is that all roads lead to service. And what we try to promote most of all is the value-added service that we try to offer. Part of the marketing is to not waste anybody's time. So we're the people that could handle it all. I hate to sound cliche and be the one-stop shop, but the teams that we have set in place to accommodate all facets of the business, whether it's invoicing, freight charges, expediting, shipping. We have all teams focused in these directions, and all of our teams communicate. And the bottom line is that we want our communication stream to continue to provide our customers with the rational and emotional decisions that they need. So we have to get them a good price, but by the same token, we have to understand that they have customers screaming on their end that are looking for expedient delivery, and we want to try and handle that all. And we try and focus on that and promote marketing and service as part of that.
Right. So I guess it would be fair to say that Solution Man has a really badass, fully stocked utility belt.
I don't even know how to jump in on that one, but I don't know if we have enough. I don't know if we have enough compartments for where we have to go, but we do attend and support many regional shows as much as possible as well. Anything leading up to the national show. We just got back. I just got back from the Southwestern show in Dallas, which was a little bit different because it was on a Saturday, which is just that event there. I think they're talking about moving it to a Friday, but that event is a little different for a Saturday event. But one thing I do have to say about the regional events, there are a lot of hardworking people that put these shows on, and it's not an easy thing to pull off these shows. The Midwestern show is just coming up in Chicago here. There's a lot of work involved in doing what these people do, and they're not being paid for it, and there's a lot of volunteer time, and I think the distributors or the manufacturers should support all the regional shows. You see a little bit more attendance all the time in most of them. I think the goal or the challenges for most of these associations are to see how many of the actual distributors they can get to attend. I mean, instead of everyone should be creative enough to, let's look in terms of getting them there for free. Let some special marketing develop so that the more distributor attendance there, the more people you're going to have distributing, and the event will be that much more. Unlike the Distributor Social is very similar to that, where these people can come in for a couple hours. They take 2 hours out of their day. It's at the end of the day. They're not there all night. It doesn't cost them any money. I mean, it just seems to me as if all these people working as hard as they do on these associations, that we should have some more growth as far as distributor participation.
Great points.
I'll tell you what, with that being said real quick, the industry has changed a little bit. I'm going to use Northeast Ohio as an example. When the NCFA was its strongest, they had just a ton of distributors that would show up. But as the business has evolved in the industry, there's a lot of larger, like the Fastenals or the larger players that really don't attend a lot, and a lot of the inside people that would benefit from coming to these shows really don't attend. And I mean, that's where you get education, in my mind. That's all we all learned. We sent our people there all the time. We had 12 people at the Distributor Social. All these people are young kids. They're just trying to be sponges. So we need more participation.
Yeah.
Well, and not to mention there was the tour at KLI that a lot of our people attended, because a lot of these young people have not even seen how a bolt's manufactured. And the fact that NCFA offered that as part of their social this year worked out for them, as well as the other associations offer something in one way or another. They offer educational seminars, tours elsewhere. They have panel discussions. And I think all of that boils down to networking with one another. I mean, we belong to every one of those associations and try to promote them any which way we can. If it's being a scholarship donation, something as simple as all of these people have golf outings as part of their tabletop shows. We provide the champion golf foursome winners with a signature socket with their name on it saying that they're the champions of 2014, and we've done that for several years along with our bats that we give out for the longest drive. But we're not the only ones that do those kind of support things for the associations. And I think the more participation we get for these outings, the better off the network will become nationwide for all of us.
Agreed. You guys do a great job with those wonderful milled bats, the Solution Industries baseball bats. They're, I know, something that has really impressed a lot of people over the years. You mentioned the panel discussions that a lot of the associations have, and who would you say is your favorite moderator?
Oh, God.
Oh, geez, that's a tough one.
I think it was Mike McGuire one year, wasn't it?
All right, we'll reel that one back in.
Yeah.
Don Shan, what's going on at Solution Industries these days, and why should we be excited, and why should folks pick up the phone and call you guys these days? Because I know you got something in the hopper. You always do.
We do think outside of the box and always are looking at different plans and opportunities. I think most of our growth plans this year are based around adding some higher end players that we can hit inside sales teams as well as purchasing teams in a lunch and learn kind of atmosphere where our costs are real transparent and we can reach some target numbers and we openly walk in with an open book. This is not rocket science, guys. This is pretty simple. Here's where we're at. Here's where we need to get to. And I think we create value and our customers are able to see that a little bit. So we're working hard to get some of the bigger players. We've added Sue Wallace to our inside team, which has helped us out. So she's 10 years experience, adding to a group of people that are averaging probably 15 to 20 years experience. So anybody that does call into our offices has a direct effect on somebody that's has been influenced by working in the distribution market, supporting VMI type of customers. So if somebody were to call our office with an inquiry, we do have people, customer service wise, or our inside people that have 15 to 20 years worth of experience that they know that they have been working with a distribution market that was solely driven from a distributor locally, working with VMI customers all the time. So they understand the importance of how they have to be supportive with their distributor customer today. And it's just basically saying, we understand where you're at and where your problems lie, and we're here to create some value and how we can help you in some of the misery of secondary process work. So that alone, in educating our people and communicating and developing skills or a skill level that they can express over the phone to their customer, builds relationships. And that's how I think our growth pattern moving forward will work out really well. And then, you have the tabletops leading up to the national show. We have Chicago shortly right around the bend, and that's just yet to come in Vegas. I mean, we had the Transformer guy last year, so was a real hit, and this year we're going to top that one. So.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, Don. I mean, the service that you add, I mean, that is the value. Anybody can buy a screw anywhere for the most part, but steering people in the right direction, bringing that wealth of knowledge into every transaction and to the support you provide your customers, I mean, that's where the solution actually is, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And if I can just add to that, you asked Don, why should people call in to talk to Solution Man? And I'll just add to that, you should call in only to be placed on hold, because trust me, you'll ask to be put back on hold just to get a little chuckle as to our mixture of facts and fun. So I'll just leave that out there for anybody who wants to call and ask to be placed on hold.
I don't know if that's such a benefit or not, because when the phone rings, I don't have an order to place, but put me on hold for 15 minutes. I got to listen to all these.
Right? Yeah.
Well, I got to say it this way. When we were at the Distributor Social last week, several people came up and commented on that, and I think it's being well received. And, it is well worth a call to Solution Industries.
Yeah,
and,
it is.
asked to be put on hold just for a couple of minutes. You'll get the flavor of it. Well, speaking of the social, and we're going to close out here because I've kept you guys far too long. I understand that, and I do appreciate your time joining us today. Marty, I hope you'll chime in on this one as well. Out there in Cleveland, which is where the social took place, football is like a religion. The social took place on the same night as the NFL draft, and all the Browns fans were abuzz. I mean, I think there was almost as much Browns talk as there was Fastener talk at this thing this year.
Yeah, that's for sure. We had a lot of people who, when they found out their draft was the same night, kind of threatened not to come to the social unless we arranged to have a place to go watch the draft right after the social, because the social ended at 8 and the draft started at 8. One thing I had to explain to Rich Cavoto, he was very confused why we were so excited about the draft. And since our team has come back, we've not had really, any success at all. So this is our Super Bowl. We're tied with everybody right now at 0-0. It's the best day of the year for Browns fans.
So what, we'll go 4-12 this year?
Once we play, it goes downhill. At least that's how it's been. So this is the eternal optimist that comes and watches the draft. So that's why you might have noticed there was a big party for the Clevelanders. Hopefully someday we'll celebrate something other than the draft. But right now that's what we got going for us.
Yeah. Well, it was hard to miss, Marty, because, everybody was talking about it. And I know you guys all went over to Shula's after the social, and it was kind of heartwarming. And speaking as a Chicago sports fan, hey, the Cubs, need I say more? But in the football arena, hey, we won the Super Bowl as far as everyone here is concerned, as you know, in '85. And what more do we have to prove?
We were watching the draft, and I was standing next to Rich Cavoto, speaking of him, and the Bears were on the clock, and he leans over to me. He says, "With the 15th selection in the 2014 draft, the Chicago Bears select Rich Cavoto, offensive tackle." Okay. Dude, if you got hit one time, you're not getting back up.
That would be for sure. I always pictured him as more of a defenseman, but okay, I'll buy that. Well done, Solution Man Shan. Sure do appreciate you joining us, along with you, Laura Vath, and you're doing a great job marketing. Can't wait to see what you come up with at the Chicago show in June, and then, of course, with your Solution Man rendition this year at the Vegas show.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate you having me on the show today.
Thanks for the hospitality.
Solution Industries, www.solutionind.com. And, of course, Marty Nolan, president of the NCFA and RL English. Thanks to you too, buddy.
Glad to join you. Always glad to join you.
Okay, guys. We'll talk to you.
Once you're in this industry, you're not getting out. Good thing there's Fully Threaded Radio. Talk radio for the fastener industry.
I know my customers' yearly usage, but I don't have the warehouse space to store it.
Solution Man can submit a blanket order, and I'll not only set up release dates, I'll offer you bulk pricing too. Visit the Solution Industries website for details at solutionind.com.
You're my fastener superhero.
Just doing my job, ma'am.
For a selection of hundreds of thousands of fasteners, check out your local Fastenal store or Fastenal.com. We can stock domestic or internationally sourced product locally and keep your bin stock filled for you at no additional expense. We are a 9001-2008 certified company that's made a huge investment in quality control so you don't have to. And if you can't find it on our shelf, we can make it for you at the quantity you need at one of our many manufacturing facilities. Learn more by contacting your local Fastenal store or visiting Fastenal.com today.
You can't beat one-on-one personal meetings to maximize business opportunities, and that's exactly what NFDA Executive Sales Planning Sessions are all about. Hi everyone, this is Kevin Rydell of Hodel Natco and the NFDA, inviting you to join us in New Orleans June 17th through the 19th for our annual ESPS meeting, where one-on-one interaction with suppliers and potential customers will be our focus. If you're a longtime member, or if you've been thinking of joining the NFDA, I encourage you to attend this exciting meeting. In addition to high bandwidth interaction and other fantastic fastener industry business content, this meeting will feature a full complement of social opportunities, taking advantage of the best of the Big Easy, the historic city of New Orleans. Take a look at the NFDA website at www.nfda-fastener.org for details, and plan to attend the annual NFDA ESPS meeting June 17th through 19th. I hope to see you there.
Looking for package fasteners of all kinds? How about specials or unique parts that no one seems to carry? At Trinity Hardware Headquarters, we believe in parts done right, and our new catalogue is available online at trinityhardwarehq.com, featuring over 30,000 different types of fasteners available in package quantities, product kits, and assortments, including hundreds of hard-to-find parts as well as the most popular inch and metric sizes. Trinity Hardware Headquarters has locations throughout the Midwest and South, and over 400,000 square feet of warehouse space with 18 million pounds of fasteners ready to fill your requirements. Our featured products include number 3 and number 7 head plow bolts, grade 5 and grade 8 carriage bolts, hook bolts, tap bolts, and nuts and washers of all kinds, plus much more. Visit our website at www.trinityhardwarehq.com or give Trinity Hardware Headquarters a call at 888-232-1010. Trinity Hardware Headquarters, for parts done right.
FastenersClearinghouse.com. Search and source from over 500,000 line items, all just a mouse click away and available at no charge. When the need arises, you won't find a better place to locate hard-to-find fastener inventory. It's where you need to be.
This is Joe Truckee of Cal Fasteners, and Fasteners Clearinghouse works for us.
This is Robert Wanzer, and Fasteners Clearinghouse works for American Imperial.
This is Andy Pell from ScrewCrew.com, and FCH works for the fastener industry.
Join the sourcing network now and show your inventory to a whole new market. Turn slow movers into cash. List up to 10,000 line items. Show them to distributors only or to the world. FastenersClearinghouse.com. It's where you need to be.
Hi there, this is Jim Zender with Trinity Logistics, and you are listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric, wishing our carbon footprint would make summer finally show up here in the Chicago area, but I don't know. I'm really getting tired of snow in May. You know what I mean, Brian?
Right. This is getting sort of dull, but whatever. Hopefully it won't be snowing up in Canada when we get there. That would be nice. Okay.
Yeah, that's coming up in a couple of weeks. Well, rewinding though, at the North Coast Fastener Association Distributor Social, the gods of fasteners smiled on us. We had a beautiful afternoon.
Yeah.
And people were able to hang out on the patio, and it was just great because fortunately there were so many people there. It was good that people could fan out.
Right. Yep. And it was a lot of people who listened to Fully Threaded, who I met up with again, give me suggestions. People were trying to find out what was the plans for the upcoming episodes. I had a lot of trouble answering that one because we don't usually know that too much ahead of time.
No, we just don't know, folks.
Right.
Let's be frank.
Right. So, but anyway, it's better that people are interested than that people couldn't give a hoot. Okay.
Yeah, certainly beats the alternative. And thanks everybody for coming up and saying hi, and offering your input and your comments and everything. I mean, it really does make it all worthwhile. And I don't know how many people really got the kind of inside joke about the name tags when we were talking with Marty there during the,
right.
the segment. But that was kind of funny because a couple times I was standing there with him and people would mention to him, I don't know, less than stellar service being provided by these things, because it was a little humid in there and they seemed to kind of be rolling off people's shirts and everything, and a few people had them on the bottoms of their shoes.
I know,
but
that's right. Right. Yeah, you're right. And mine fell off, I think, 3 times. In the end, I gave up. But it would have been nicer had they stayed on. Okay. Clearly, it must have been one of the times when mine fell off, because this person came wandering up, and I was talking to Charlie Kerr just briefly, and some guy came and said, tried to offer me a copy of the Constitution. Of course, he was sort of joking. It's from our friends from Gomar Screw. I said, no, we already have those. We printed them.
That's right. If you were at the NCFA Distributor Social, you had yet another opportunity to pick up a copy of the Constitution, courtesy of FCH. We were handing those out. And actually the Citizens Rule Book, Constitution, right. The Declaration, among other things, as well as a Stellfast monkey. And there was a whole bunch of other great literature you could have picked up there. Fantastic event, closing on 300 people they had this year. Job well done by everybody.
Yep.
Name badges notwithstanding.
Just a good fun event, and it was certainly helped by a great day and a lot of good people who are in good moods. So it's good to be in a group of people who all know each other. It's sort of, you can tell it when you meet a room full of people, all of whom are happy to be somewhere.
100%, Bri. So let's thank our friends from the NCFA for their recap of that event. They were from RL English, Mr. Marty Nolan, Don Solution Man Shan, and Laura Vath, also of Solution Industries.
Right.
Marc Strandquist joined us for the big news of the acquisition of Timberline Fasteners. Wow, biggie on that one. We'll have to talk with Russ Dorn about that one when we can. And Mike McNulty and BB&T Capital Markets analyst Holden Lewis. Great job as usual, boys. Wow, let's see those FDI numbers stay up there. What do you think, Bri?
Yeah, that'd be good. Be good. Actually, now I also, on a slightly different matter, have to really make sure I keep my Timberline hat well hidden. Okay.
That's going to be a collector's item. The title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio are Stellfast. For service you deserve and people you trust, it's Stellfast. Also, Trinity Hardware Headquarters. Trinity, for parts done right. Fully Threaded Radio is also sponsored by Fastenal, Solution Industries, Buckeye Fasteners, Volt Industrial Plastics, and Fastener Technology International Magazine. We appreciate your support, all of you. We also appreciate everybody listening in and sharing the podcast with your friends and associates. We keep getting bigger, and it's because of you.
Right. And, in the vein of thanking people, I'd like to just thank some of the people who really helped us in our recent trip to Cleveland, made life organized and easy for us. That'd be Jackie Ventura, who acted as a great guide and introduced us to some new companies and took us around and planned things for us. And Marty Nolan, who told us to made sure we turned up for dinner on the first night we got there. Don Shan, who brought a group of people on and made a lot of fun with us. And and I'd really like to thank also Charlie Kerr from Kerr Lakeside when we went out to visit him. And it's a disruption to any company when they turn their whole place over for people wandering around and looking and poking in and out of things. And Charlie said, well, you can use your time in a number of ways. You can waste it or you can invest it. And he hoped that it was an investment of time. And just in my own view, I'm an engineer by degree, but not by practice. And we are we being you and I, we're in a sort of a remote part of the fastener industry. But
right.
when you get to see one of these big bloody machines, pumping out plow bolts, it makes you sort of realize, this is absolutely the thing that made America the financial and industrial powerhouse that it was, for 100 years. This is industry at its most fundamental.
It was very, very inspiring. I agree, Bri. Thank you to everyone you mentioned. Charlie Kerr over there at Kerr Lakeside was just a gracious host. I think he achieved his mission of educating a small fraction of the industry, and lunch was great. And we look forward to having him back on the podcast in the near future. But I agree. I mean, the engine of industry is where the future of the U.S. is going to be if we're going to get out of this funk we're in right now. And,
right.
It really wakes you up and makes you think that, maybe it's possible when you witness what we did over there at Kerr Lakeside.
Yeah, no, it's easy to be, completely blindsided by the, all the high tech stuff that goes on, and the fancy phones we have and all the technology we have to help us. But fundamentally, America was built on making big, mechanical things, and this is it. When you finally wipe all the smoke and mirrors away, you end up as what made America a huge industrial nation, and it was this sort of manufacturing.
That's right. It ain't easy, but that's the way it is. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have input on any of that, we'd love to hear it. Again, the email address ftr@fullythreaded.com. We hope to hear from you before the next episode. And that's going to put this one in the can. What do you think, Bri?
Right. Yeah, it hasn't been easy, has it?
For Brian Musker, this is Eric Dudas. Get out there and sell some screws, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.
Until next time, folks.
Fully Threaded Radio is a production of Fasteners Clearinghouse. Music provided by Audionautics.
Start
All right, here we go.
Boom.
Well, is it okay to say that the draft was Johnny-licious?
Well, geez, maybe okay for you to say
You
it.
can cut that if you want, but I just wanted to put it out there if it works.